Hi there, namaste, and welcome back to another spiritualistic pick a card reading. Today's reading is a big soul family collaboration with all of my dear friends and soul family. We are doing a big 8 elements pick a card collaboration, which I am sure you can tell by the title. But today's reading is very special. I will be channeling the wood element for you, which is the element of intelligence, work, integrity, and abundance and growth. So please take a deep breath, drawing the energy up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today. As always, the timestamps will be listed below in the description box for your reading, as well as the link to the channel and video for all of the other elements that we're channeling today. This is a huge group effort reading, so please take your time and indulge a little bit listening to all of the messages there. You might find that you have at least one message per element, and some of them might surprise you. So we have group number 1 on the left with Possum and Opportunity. Group number 2 in the center with Thylacine and Wisdom, and group number 3 on the right with Red Kangaroo and Responsibility. As always, I am so grateful that you're here, and I want to let you know that I love you. If you liked today's video, please like and comment, as it helps others to find it who might be searching for these messages and don't know where to look. If you subscribe to my channel, it helps me out a lot because I get to keep doing what I love. If you're interested in more content like this, you can go to my channel and click join to join my members only YouTube channel, which I post full pick of cards to every single Wednesday, and my Patreon, which I also post full pick of cards to every single Thursday. So the links to all of that, as well as my personal information, readings, Reiki, my books, my art, etc., it's all listed below in the description box, as well as all the links to the videos from all of my beautiful friends and family that are collaborating with me today in this video. So please take your time, listen to all the messages you feel drawn to, check out one from each element, give us a little bit of love, and I love supporting my friends, so please go like, comment, subscribe, and all their videos too. And I hope that you're having a great day. I want to let you know that I'm so grateful that you're here. I love you, and I'll see you at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, group 1. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here today, and welcome to your channeled message from the wood element. You selected the first group with Possum and Opportunity, along with the number 41. Now, you are being encouraged right now to follow your inner guidance, but to also take a little bit more of a leadership role. You're stepping into a significant opportunity for growth and abundance, and there is something that the wood element wants to speak to you about today, about the fact that it is always there to be a gentle support for you. And normally when it is not because you need or require the support, but merely because it feels nice for it to be there. Sometimes it's nice to have a walking stick in your hand, not because you aren't capable of walking without it, but because it gives you support, and it's nice. It feels good and sturdy and nice to be supported. So the wood element is speaking to you first, group number 1, through the Possum card, to let you know that there are opportunities ahead of you that you might not see coming, but are going to pick you up and float you to where you're intended to be. There is something here about you, they're saying singing in key, that is going to be significant here. For some of you, there's a little wink attached to that message, and for others of you, you're being encouraged to trust that you're really working in divine flow here. You might feel as though, they're showing me the word unity, you might feel as though you are extra supported at this time, or that you feel inclined to give extra support at this time. And the wood element would like to let you know that you are smart, you are intelligent, you are a phenomenal listener, and there's something here about, being a good listener, being in tune, having a good ear is coming up. So maybe you're great at listening to the messages coming through from spirit. Maybe you have perfect pitch, or you're really good at listening to something and remembering it. They're showing me somebody sitting reading books in a corner, and they're able to remember every single detail that they've read, remember the references that it came from, and repeat things verbatim with the appropriate reference to the resource at hand. Now, you may be a little bit tired at this time, or you might notice that there's a shift in your sleep schedule. The wood element would like to let you know that it's important for you to be flexible and sturdy at the same time. Some of you may be interested in taking a couple extra naps, being a bit more gentle with your body, and they want to remind you that it's not the rigidity that counts, it's the sum of all parts. With that, they're showing me a tree or a plant that grows. And as it grows, there are certain parts that must fall, and other times when it might get blown around in the wind a little bit, there are some times where it might seem to be affected by the other elements. But the parts that are unseen, the roots, are intertwined and interconnected with all other things. So the wood element wants to remind you, with unity here at the end of opportunity, and with the roots coming out for your message group number 1, that not only are you guided, but you're connected with everything, and that there are large changes that are coming in your life. It's important that you express yourself, but there's also something where you feel like you need to hang on for dear life, and you're being encouraged to trust that you're smart enough to figure this out, and for most of you, you already have, okay? Trust the process, trust your roots, trust your foundation, and know that you are meant to grow in support of other things and grow to support of other things. You have a symbiotic relationship with the universe, and right now, it is your turn to be a support. And that is a beautiful, beautiful role to have. There's an indication here that you are perhaps, they're showing me the word for bear. Okay, so there's something here about you maybe wanting to nurture something, wanting to take a long nap. Okay, we have a lot of tiredness kind of coming out. Maybe you need to take a little bit better care of your body or just honor that. The wood element wants to let you know that, well, you are capable, you are a hard worker, because as we know, when someone has like wood element as their main element, like their, it will have like, they'll have boxier fingers, or they will have like thicker traits, for an example, that are a little bit more like trunky, like a tree, or like a good stick, like this Palo Santo here. And with that, the wood element is coming through to let you know that you can be a hard worker and also be gentle on yourself. Even the strongest trees fall down sometimes, and even the strongest tree trunks will also be soft on the outside, or they create, I think that was the Lover's card. Yeah. Even the strongest tree trunks create some sort of foundation for other things to grow within and among and around them. But that doesn't mean that their roots aren't supported. In fact, their roots are connected to things that symbiotic relationship, all of those things aren't physically connected with. The wood element wants to let you know, okay, that there's a door of opportunity that is coming your way, and they want you to be on the lookout for opportunities that might be bigger and better than you might first initially think. You might have some decisions to make, or you may have recently made a decision that will stress you out. There can be some things circling around you that are making your future. We have 6 and 9, both numbers of time alchemy here, and 4, the present moment when it comes to yourself. 41, perfect guidance, allowing yourself to be grounded in love. Also a 5, your expression, your throat chakra, and Leo energy, your confidence, change, inner child. Okay, so there are some changes here to either your daily routine. Maybe you want to walk away from something, or maybe you walk towards something and you know it's leading you towards victory because you're smart enough to figure it out. But they want to let you know, the wood element is coming through to let you know that you can see, if you can see the eyes and the faces in the trees, or if you can see the face or feel the energy of the consciousness of anything, whether it be a crystal, whether it be a card, whether it be a person, you are already further along than you think. And they want to let you know that this is a hint. Now, the first thing that came out, the first message that I got from the number 4 here on the Possum card actually was related to the Emperor card, because it reminded me that 4 is the Emperor's number, and he did come out at the back of the deck here for the overarching energy of your first spread. The wood element right now would like to ask you to zoom in. It would like to ask you to be confident that through your ability to root yourself in unconditional love and gratitude, you're going to be reaching success. You intuitively are walking towards or away from something, but when you are walking away from perhaps what looks like an abundant water well, you might be wondering where your next source of water will come from. And it's one of those things where you're not going to know until you try. So your message from the wood element, first and foremost, is to trust that you're smart enough. You have enough intellect, you have enough information for you to make the right choice. In fact, you already did. And a lot of the things that are stressing you out, you're going to notice a culmination of events that actually show you that the work is largely done. Some of it on your behalf, some of it you've already done, but either way, it's leading you towards victory. Now, wood itself might feel a bit linear. It might look a bit linear, but when you zoom in, you're able to see all the different ridges, all the different shapes. Sometimes there are spirals, sometimes there are lines. You're able to see beautiful patterns, almost as if each and every one was intentionally hand painted. Just like when you see a picture, a painting at an art museum and you stand far away and you look at it, you might notice that you see an overall picture, but when you zoom in really closely, when you stand close, you're able to see each individual brush stroke. And so the wood element would like to remind you that it's okay to zoom in and it's okay to zoom out. Sometimes when you're making something, when you're drawing something or painting something, when you're super close to it, it can actually throw off your ability to see the whole picture. You might notice that some of the spacing is a bit off, or that some of the elements are a little bit distorted. But also, if you only paint something from far away, when you look very closely, you will notice that there are not as many fine details as there could be. This is a situation that you are very close to, whatever we're channeling for you today. But it is opportunistic, and the door is opening for you. You might feel this and not see it, or you might understand it rationally and be working towards it. There's a lot of indication that this is activating primarily through your intellect. We have swords, which is interesting because it has to do with intellect, and so does the wood element. So we do have indication this is coming through your mental clarity, your intellect, your ability to be smart. Some of you might want to be studying. Some of you might want to start an art class. Some of you might want to build a business. Whatever this is, you're smart enough, and you have the roots and the foundation. Don't be afraid to create a symbiotic relationship. Don't be afraid to join a study group. Don't be afraid to speak up. And don't be afraid to take up space either. I was actually reading something this morning from Lao Tzu that is coming up, so I'd like to read it to you if that's okay, Group 1. This says, "To understand others is to have knowledge. To understand oneself is to be illuminated. To conquer others needs strength. To conquer oneself is harder still. To be content with what one has is to be rich. He that works through violence may get his way, but only what stays in its place can endure. When one dies, one is not lost. There is no other longevity." So, Group 1, you will notice that you're being encouraged to take up space, to trust your intellect, trust the roots that you already have planted, because while some may ebb and flow, and there's no right or wrong here, what you seek has legs, it has roots, it has the ability to grow. And like many trees, when it begins the regeneration process, sometimes it grows up the center, the tree will hollow itself out, and a new one will grow in the center, and then the bark will merely shed itself. And one would not even know that there is a rebirth going on in the tree, or that the old tree died, because it didn't. Because it's communicating with the roots of all the other trees. Because it's being supported by the nutrients of the mushrooms, by the plants, by what we would consider weeds, what we would also consider medicine, by the animals, by the plants. Everything is symbiotic. And when you need a walking stick, or when it's just nice to have one, there will be one there for you, by your side. And you're being encouraged to trust this. Now, the wood element wants to reiterate that you are either educated enough, you are smart enough, or that you can do it, that you're smart enough to figure something out. You have what it takes to walk towards something that you desire. But regardless of any anxiety that might be coming up here, it's important for you to know that you are supported. You can be firm and gentle at the same time. You can be strong enough to be soft, and soft enough to be strong. There is strength in both, and there is gentleness in both. just like wood of a tree, roots can grow as deeply as the tree can grow tall. So, you will notice that you're being encouraged to hold a strong polarity in the middle between those two, and that you are being led towards your ultimate victory and success. There is some sort of connection, desire, wish, choice, or change that's coming up that it seems that you're going to need to approach pretty soon. We do have 666 coming out with the number 9, which is letting me know that there's something here that's affecting your future, that the way that you perceive things is going to be the way that they end up. So, trust in yourself. Know that you're a smart cookie, Group 1. And on top of that, trust that what you are doing, what you are saying, is on the correct path. Notice that 666 is a number of divine unconditional love and activation and grounding of that super intense unconditional energy. It's also a number that brings a lot of fear to people, because when we think of unconditional love, oftentimes that can spiral one into fear, into stress, into anxiety. Same thing about when we think about perhaps success, or walking away from something that we love, or walking towards the unknown. And so the wood element wants to let you know that you never know how tall you can grow until your roots are deeply planted. You've got your roots planted. Allow yourself to look up and grow. Allow yourself to float. Okay, more messages please to group number 1 from the wood element. Closing messages to group number 1 from the wood element. What is the advice we can take from wood today for group 1? Strength. I'm noticing the smile on this face. Some of you might feel like some of you love to support and care for others. That is just your jam. Others of you, it might be a great way for you to connect. Reflexology is coming up as well. Some of you might want to get reflexology done on your hands and feet if you practice this or you're interested in it. Doing things like little foot baths or learning about reflexology, going and having an appointment done, or just connecting with somebody. The toes on this fox are really standing out, these little toe beans. Allow yourself to be strong and allow yourself to stay planted, to stay grounded. Some of you going outside barefoot is suggested. Do tree visualizations where you imagine roots coming out of your feet, out of your root chakra, down your legs, and you allow yourself to grow upwards like a tree. You are stronger than you think. When a storm comes, in any meaning of the term, the trees sometimes are subjected to the storm, sometimes bits and pieces fall off, sometimes there are tragedies, but more often than not, the tree stays tall, even if it must sway in the wind in order to do so. But also, the strongest oak eventually falls. I'm hearing that phrase, if a tree falls and no one is around to hear it, does it still make a sound? And there's something here about you being that tree. If no one's around to hear it, does it still make a sound? Make your sound. And see that there were energies around you symbiotically listening. The wood element is encouraging you to take that next step and to be strong enough to know that you can do something on your own and that you most likely won't need to, but just like the tree trunk must first be there before a squirrel can climb up it, you're being encouraged to trust that when you plant your feet somewhere, you're making the right decision. And there's a reason that you are taking a foundational standpoint to whatever it is that you're doing. You might not see it right now, but others look up to you. And the wood element is really showing to me that the sheep is standing out significantly. 9 of Pentacles, wish fulfillment, success. There's something here. You might be opening up to one of your heart's desires, to some of the possibilities of your life, deciding how much detail you wish to go in, or which details you wish to add to your painting of life. You're being encouraged to trust that what you put out there will come back in one way or another, that if you walk away from something, we have 6666, look at that. If you walk away from something, it is because there is something else that is meant for you. If you walk towards something, there's a reason why you're drawn towards it. And notice that we went from largely wands and swords to all pentacles here. Your foundation is sturdier than you think. The wood element would like for you to know that timing is everything as much as it's nothing. Notice that the only cards pretty much that we got out here, we have 6, 9, 6, 6, 9, 6. And they're showing me Nikola Tesla's 3, 6, and 9. The numbers of alchemy. Time is significant here. Growth is significant here. And you've already had a taste of what it's going to be like in the future. You already know what you desire. It's already knocking on your door. So the wood element wants to come through for you today, group 1. Group number 1. Whatever you're feeling drawn towards, there is a window of opportunity. It's larger than a window. It's a door to another chapter. And you're being encouraged to be the strong oak tree that others can rely on. And this is because you are following your own wants, wishes, desires, and abundance. You're being encouraged, lastly, to trust that this road has a lot of abundance here for you. And it's not prosperity for the sake of prosperity. It is not helping others for the sake of helping others. It is a symbiotic relationship that allows you to step into your abundance, allows you to exercise that muscle that you call your brain, allow you to be seen for the wise and intelligent, sturdy being that you are, allows you to understand and paint the fine details, and also set an understandable and precise structure. Again, this is symbiotic, so it will help you, it will help others, and it will be an important opportunity for not only you, but those around you to come into unity and to reattune themselves. For some of you, this might have something to do with perhaps going back to school. This can have something to do with starting a business. This can have something to do with even starting a relationship. For others of you, you're being trusted that you following your instincts here are first and foremost smarter than you're giving yourself credit for, more in tune than you're giving your instincts credit for. But it's also an opportunity for you and the world around you to create that connection, that fulfillment, that abundance, that prosperity, where everything kind of just settles into place. And I'm not saying this to sugarcoat anything or to make everything seem all fantastic, but as you can see here, we have the Lovers and the Strength, making the choice to stay strong. 9 of Swords clarified by the 9 of Pentacles. Having stress when it comes to you being fulfilled, or you having enough, or you feeling free enough. We have the 6 of Swords to the 6 of Pentacles. Notice that these numbers resonate. Going from perhaps walking away from something to realizing that you were walking towards something, or vice versa. And knowing that here with the 6 of Wands, the card of success and victory, and the King of Pentacles, the card of abundance, you are going to get to rest, experience success and victory, if and when you follow this opportunity. And you might be a little bit tired, and they would like to let you know again, the wood element is coming through to say, it's okay to rest your body, it's okay to rest your mind, it's okay to use yourself, your body, your mind to its fullest extent, and everything that you do is bound to be successful because you don't just do it for yourself, but you don't just do it for others either. Again, the words symbiotic and unity are really standing out here. So, continue to root yourself in love, and also love your roots. And don't be surprised when they go a little bit deeper than you expect, or when you grow a little bit taller than you thought. That's all I have for you today, Group 1. That was your channeled message from the wood element. I hope this reading helped shed love, light, and clarity on your situation. I hope it was valuable for you in some way. Please like, comment, and subscribe so that we can see each other again sometime. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful realm. I want to let you know that I'm grateful for you, and I love you. Namaste. Hi there, Group 2. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today, I am channeling a message to you from the wood element, and you selected the second group with the probably extinct Thylacine with the wisdom card, number 38. Now, there is something really unique to you. Just like the wood element, you are strong, clear, and decisive. Those who are working with the wood element or who are ruled by the wood element has usually a very strong breath, really strong words, really sharp intellect, and is a good critical thinker and problem solver. With the Thylacine here, you are very focused, and there's definitely everybody's watching her, but she's looking at you energy. You definitely attract attention everywhere that you go, and this is coming out because it's kind of an indication of you being rare, you being one of your kind. When you get two different sticks, they're never the same. When you get two different pieces of plywood, for example, they are never the same. It's intricate, it's decisive. I don't know if any of you have ever done woodworking or tried to break something metal, but it has its own striations that it follows. And as much as you can carve around it, like when you whittle or whatever, the wood itself is very decisive. It knows already where its weak spots are. It knows where its strength is. And because of this, it's able to have a steady and accurate foundation. It knows where it's strong, so it knows where its center is. Very much like balancing rocks. Because you're able to find the center, and no matter where the striations go, no matter how interesting or rare or different it might be, there is this element to you where, yes, you are very wise, you're very strong, but you're also very dominant. You're very alluring as well. You're very perceptive. And we have 38 here, indicating that there's some sort of creation of abundance or inheritance or some sort of new information or wisdom that you seem to be bringing to the surface. We have number 11, indicating that this is for a humanitarian purpose or simply for you to express yourself. Because there are parts of you that you feel are unseen or you feel are quite rare, so you expressing them is really healthy for yourself and others as well. Wood is also the element of gathering and actually can be polarized, like counteracted by the metal element. So if you're looking for a little bit of a yin-yang element to your reading group number 2, or if you want to see probably more synchronicities, I would say go check out Tay's reading on the metal element. Now, with the Thylacine here, there is definitely something here where you are a force to be reckoned with, and there's something here about you. You might be an entertainer, you might just be very alluring, or you can be somebody who likes to watch, or you get watched a lot. There's kind of this energy where you know that you stand tall, but you're also just as soothing as you are precise. There's this energy here. They're showing me like the herb ylang ylang and how it's very it is calming, it's soothing, it is an aphrodisiac, but it's also energizing at the same time. It's both calming and energizing, kind of like matcha. So there is indication here that the wood element wants to talk to you today, group number 2, about standing in your own, standing in your purpose, trusting that you are meant to be seen and that you are meant to be. They're showing me the Sherman oak tree up in the redwoods. If you've ever seen it in person, it is a super old, super huge tree. It is beautiful. And there are a million trees in that area, in that forest, but people travel near and far just to come see the Sherman oak. And there's an energy about you like the Sherman oak, like the Thylacine, where your wisdom, your being in and of itself dominates the area or the room that you're in. You might notice that you're the kind of person where when you enter a room or you walk down the street, eyes go directly towards you. You might kind of have this energy of wisdom, of mystery about you. Is group number 2 real? I thought they were just a mystery. I didn't know people like group 2 were still left. There are still some. Oh, I thought I saw them, but you can't really tell because the video is really grainy. Things like that. Things like the Thylacine. Things like the striations in the wood, where you can tell that they're precise, they're exact. They don't necessarily follow the straight line that the wood was cut at, but they have their own decision about which direction they go. And while they might look from a distance like they're somewhat parallel, when you look at it up close, you're able to see that the actual wood itself took its own path. You are able to see, with your very strong critical thinking skills, with your very strong perception group 2, where the path goes straight, even though that might not be what the common consensus is. And so you're able to see things more clearly, and there's kind of this energy of you, either part of your life purpose or part of your tasks here in life, just something that you like, or maybe pertaining to a smaller situation in your daily life. You're able to see something as clear as something being off by 1 degree angularly. Say that everybody is moving 1 degree veered off the path, but you're able to identify what that clear channel is. The wood element literally rules clear channels. The wood element rules clarity, strong, clear, knowing energy, and it also rules psychic senses. It also rules the liver, as well as specifically the spiritual ability of premonition and manifestation. So there are energies here. You might be a very strong manifester. You're always able to see the future. You have very, very accurate predictive skills, or you're very good at pattern recognition. And there's something here. They're showing me LA, and they're showing me cine, like a cinema. Okay. There's an energy here to you where there's something that feels like it's been lost, and you're aware of kind of the chaos. You're aware of the chaos, but the misconstruence that if you just become part of the chaos, it won't become chaotic to you, when in fact it would actually poison your life instead of just normalizing it to you. You're aware that things like just because you can build a tolerance to a bomb, or just because there's room in your life for a bomb, doesn't mean you need to indulge in it or invite it in. And so there's this very ancient wisdom to you that seems a little bit it seems tall and sturdy, like the Sherman oak. It seems a little bit fewer and further between. Like, people might not see people like group 2 anymore. So messages, please, from the wood element to group number 2. Messages, please, from the wood element to group number 2. This is somebody who feels like they talk to trees, or this feels like the energy of somebody who still believes that we are meant to live harmoniously with nature, in nature. It's not giving the perspective of using nature, it's giving the perspective of being nature. And that is so beautiful, and it's also very necessary. Your importance, group 2, your presence here is necessary for just veering things off the path just a smidge in the right direction. See how if you look at this piece of Palo Santo from a distance, the lines look like they're running straight. But when you actually hold it up close, like we were looking at earlier, you're able to tell that it's just suggesting, just very gently suggesting that things move in the natural flow, but not so much so that it's against the grain. It's actually in a way that's portraying and showcasing the fact that the way the mold was cut is against the grain, and that it doesn't take much to shift. And this can be little things such as breathing. It can be little things such as putting one foot in front of the other, like telling that person you love them, or showing up an extra 5 minutes a day. It can be something like recycling. It can be something like doing people do meatless Mondays, or something that is copacetic, that is good for all things involved. Being nature, not just using it. We have the Chariot, of course, with the Wheel of Fortune coming out. The wood element wants to let you know that you are intended to move ahead on your projected path. You're very wise. You know what this is. You also know what your life purpose here is, group number 2, and you have 1010 coming out. You may have been completing old cycles, may have been experiencing a bit of deja vu, forward or backwards, but again, they're drawing my attention to your ability to see the way that everything is linked. And with this being the case, it's kind of giving a nod to the future and the past being encoded in the present moment, and you being able to make conscious shifts by faith, number 7, your crown chakra, in order to allow you to realize or help others realize yourself enough to remove the obstacles between the sheep and the fox. between love and spirituality, between those that go with the crowd versus those that are veering the crowd consciously 1 degree to the left or to the right. Now with the 10 of Pentacles here, the wood element wants to let you know that you are going to be abundant and that you are firmly anchored. It wants to let you know that you are not going to be uprooted, and also that you are you're not meant to carry this on your own. They're telling me not to take rehearsals, so I will listen. You do have the 10 of Cups, okay? You're meant to move towards your emotional fulfillment because your internal work has been beautiful. Your rational mind is so clear. And you might notice that instead of you are not over dominant, but you are dominant. You are not rigid, but you are not swayed. There is an energy here where the balance of you is just right. You might have a bit of Capricorn in your chart coming out here, or Aquarius as well. A little bit of Libra coming out also. We're getting Capricorn ascendant, Mars and Libra vibes. Of course, does not need to be the case. Perhaps Mercury in Libra as well. Please, messages to group number 2 from the wood element. Things are working out in your favor, and I think that you know this as well. And you might notice that there's such a clear path that you're able to see the problem and the solution very clearly. You're able to have no lack of judgment or no lack of clarity. Very, very clear knowing, clairsentience. You might be very strong, claircognizant. You're able to have clear knowing and clear feeling when it comes towards what the status quo is versus the way that it might be nudged ever so slightly. And this is a part of why you're here. Your ability to use critical thinking and not to be swayed by the status quo, okay? Because you're able to use your clarity to see, even if you're the only one doing something, it's important that someone is doing that. And that is better than following everyone else for no reason at all when they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. There's something here where you might be used to kind of being the cycle breaker. You might be kind of used to helping other people through things. You could be a helper, you can be a healer, you can be the cycle breaker of your particular bloodline. It's important that you know, Group 2, that you're here for a very specific reason. You might be one of many, many trees, but there's something oh so special about you. You might be tapping into your crystalline blueprint, or you might be tapping in with your chakras in a new way, a different type of energy work or Reiki or something like this. The reason I say this is because they're showing me in my mind's eye a petrified wood that I have. It's very beautiful. This crystal was once a tree, and you can still see it here. Now, this particular tree saw the dinosaurs. It gave life and air to things that no longer exist on our planet, much like the Thylacine. And it has experienced mass extinction events. It has been boiled into lava. It has been created and destroyed 1,000,000 times over, but you can still see that it is what it's always been. But this time it's crystallized, and it's beautiful, and it holds ancient wisdom and knowledge that if one were to look at this, they would probably say, oh, that's a cool rock. Or, how interesting is that? And this tells stories. Geologically, but also energetically. I personally love this piece of wood. I've come to befriend it, and I find that it has a very strong energy, a very strong personality, as with all crystals. But this one specifically, it's so old, it's so wise that it is pretty set in its ways, but not because it is rigid, not because it's inflexible, but actually because it's so flexible that it understands the natural grooves, the way of things. And it understands why things are the way that they are, because it's lived to experience it. And there's this energy about you where you may have a very, I'll use the term lightly, you might have an old soul. You could remember several incarnations of yours, if not all of them. You might have seen a lot of life in this lifetime. And the wood element wants to come let you know, group number 2, that it wasn't for nothing. And you are very, very clear in what you say, the way you perceive things, and you're very clear about what your future will look like too. So you show up, you're determined, and people might not understand why. You also are aware of what's to come, and you don't stress, you don't hold anger. And this might also be something that people don't understand why. And it's merely because you've moved forward. Look at this. This is the 10 of Cups while there's a volcano exploding in the background. And that is your energy, group 2. Regardless of what's going on, see how the sheep and the fox, they're playing. They're enjoying each other's company. There's a volcano erupting in the background, and it's the 10 of Cups card, emotional fulfillment, happiness, bliss. You may have been through a lot in your home life, You might love helping others or putting a smile on others' faces. You might be very well traveled or speak a lot of languages, be very well educated. And you might find that part of your path is learning. You might find that part of your path is just being a little bit different than the rest, because somebody has to walk that stride. Somebody has to anchor ancient wisdom in the realm. Somebody has to remind yang of yin and yin of yang, and it doesn't mean that anyone or anything is wrong, but you can certainly see where the original path was. Just like when you try to draw a straight line for a really long time and you think that you're doing great, and then you look back at it from a zoomed out perspective and you realize it was just off a little bit and you really needed it to cut that wood. But maybe you were following the wood striation and not the factory cut. And so there's kind of this element to you where most people might prefer factory edges, but you might prefer to find whatever you're shaping within the wood. You might prefer to let it speak to you. And it might have the same result, it might have a different result, but you know that you're following the natural flow. And you know that you're honoring that wood. And you know that you're honoring yourself. And it might be a little bit different, but that's intentional too. Because group 2 is strong enough to do that. Group 2 is awake, they're aware, they're lovely, they're loving enough to do that. Loving yourself and others, so much so that you don't mind coming off as anything at all whatsoever, because you know. Loving others so much so that you'll be extra strong. Loving others so much so that you'll be the bad guy even when that's just misunderstanding. And there's definitely an energy here as well that you don't get swayed by the status quo. You would hold your integrity till the very, very end. And the wood element would like to say that energies like this, energies like wood, energies like trees, energies like mushrooms, these are the unseen things, the unseen things that give us life. These are the elements. Wood gives us the air that we breathe, the prana, to have energy. It is the clarity which gets tuned by the other elements. And it is the direct connection between space and wind. And its polarizing element is metal. Because wood is gentle and it's unshakable. And it knows where its striations lie. It knows what its path looks like. It knows what its individual blueprint looks like. It's not shakeable, but it's still flexible. Metal said what it said. Metal is permanent. Metal's connected with fire. And so you'll see that these polarizing elements, they meet in the middle where? Water. Because when metal is heated, it is liquid. And wood floats. They withstand one another. And in fact, it alchemizes something like this. And so you'll see that everything is connected. But the wood element is not one to be forgotten, much like you, Group 2, much like the Thylacine, much like the impact that you have in your community or on the earth, or your own unique path that you walk every day. And sure, it might not seem much sometimes, and it might seem like a lot other days, but it is so, so, so important. Just the presence of wood means a lot to all of life. The presence of the Thylacine was so significant and important to nature. It provides the air. It creates a clear channel. It is indicative of the earth. It is a telltale sign that the world that we live in today is healthy, is active, is growing. Wood is the element of the growing stages of life. You are growing right now, and you are strong. You're rooted, and you grow upwards, and you also grow outwards. And so you're going to notice that you are well focused, you do take charge, and you are very much here to impact the future generations. And a little bit of he said, she said doesn't sway you. A little bit of was there a thylacine, wasn't there a thylacine? Are they really extinct? Are there 1 or 2 or 3 left and we don't know where they are? A little bit of this action surrounding you, that's intentional too. Because in order for you to be the clarity, to have the clarity, that must intrinsically be part of a dualistic aspect where something outside of you does not have clarity, cannot see it. And that is why your part of this realm is so important. Your path here is important, group 2. You're here to help bring in and govern New Earth. You're here to show up and embody the full attributes of your personality. You're here to show people that they don't have to go with the flow, and of course they can, but to show people how much choice they really can have, how much impact they really can have, how important they really truly are, and how clear of a channel one can be. And you being yourself might ruffle some feathers, but they're only the feathers that are being nudged back onto their path. So trust as you move on, as you move forward, group 2, that the wood element sees you and they resonate with you. It relates with you. In fact, if there's a tree or some plants that are around you hanging out, particularly some real barky ones or ones with really good stems, they would just, vines as well, they're coming out, they would love to spend time with you. You look at them while they look at you. They would love to connect with you more deeply. They love to speak with you. I'm hearing speak through the wind, the language of the trees, if that resonates. And maybe there's a tree that you are very fond of. Go hang out with it. The wood element would like to remind you that your third eye has never been shut. There's never been a blockage there, and it's ever expanding because the wood element also rules pine cones. It rules the pineal chakra. It rules clarity, perception, visions of the future, intellect. Because of this, your wisdom is unmatched. Also because of this, you are both unyielding and flexible. Your ability to hold polarity, to have very deep roots, but also very high heights, is something that allows you to stay balanced in the center, come back to love, and continue to keep yourself focused on the path ahead and just not worry too much about the world around you. Or so it seems. This is a really unique and beautiful energy, group 2. And the wood element wants you to know that it's okay for you to kick your feet up, to kick back a little bit. It's all right for you to still have dreams and visions for the future, even though there's so much that's going on all the time for you, because you're able to stay focused, you're able to stay clear, you're able to stay organized. But don't forget that sometimes you're able to find what wants to be shaped out of the wood by listening to the wood. So listen to yourself and allow yourself to shape yourself in the way you want to be shaped. Trust that you'll be able to succeed at whatever you put your mind to, and that you're going to leave a crystallized, very unique imprint on this realm. So take your time doing it and enjoy every step of the way, because you're so much beautiful. You are so much more beautiful than you might be giving yourself credit for. And on top of all of that, there is way more to you than meets the eye. Last message to come out for you here, group number 2. There is an air of respect to you and around you. You are respected. I'm hearing you are a respected predator, and no one would see you as prey. Now, I don't know why that's coming out, but trust that you deserve respect, that you deserve sweetness, you deserve strength, and I can see here that you've got quite a backbone, group 2. You know when to exert yourself when you need to. Just like a tree, when it falls over, can destroy anything, it also provides just as much life, if not more. So there's another message coming out just to wrap things up quickly. That's a bit of an aside, but if you need to exert yourself, if you need to re-express the fact that you are respectful and also require respect, don't feel bad about that. Because this petrified wood, it earned its respect. You might look at it and see a rock, you might look at it and see a crystal, you might look at it and see something old or whatever. But much like our elders, much like ancient civilizations, ancient cultures, there's so much more than meets the eye. Your energy demands respect, and people know that. You might not always know why, but they know that. So, show up like you do, but don't feel bad for putting your foot down, because you are meant to be flexible, but decisive. Again, I think that there may be messages for you specifically in Tay's reading, the metal element. So go check that out if you feel called. That's all I have for you, Group 2. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity on your situation. Go check out the videos from all the rest of my friends. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful realm, you beautiful being. And hopefully I will see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, Group 3. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today, I'm channeling a message to you from the wood element, and you selected the third group with the red kangaroo, responsibility, and the number 39. Now, 39 is actually my lucky number. So, hey, Group 3. But with number 39, this is drawing the past and the future into kind of the same stride, allowing them to weave together and create the thread that is the present moment. And you selected the responsibility card, and wood is the responsible element. Now, wood element is known for being the strongest of diviners, the strongest of oracles, but it's also the element that rules technological advancement. It's the element that rules science and logic and rational thinking, high rational thinking, but also high spiritual and psychic abilities. And so weaving these two things together, 3, creation, rationality, Mercury, right? And 9, Jupiter. Oh, wood is also ruled by Jupiter. This is kind of this this unique responsibility that they want to draw attention to right away. You always have to go, go, go. And there's something here about your comfort, your safety. It is perhaps in your comfort zone to take on more of an active role, to be a little bit more hands-on, to weave your own thread, so to speak. And the wood element wants to let you know that you have the character, the responsibility that you do for a particular reason, but they do also want to let you know that you might find that you don't always get your responsibility reciprocated all the time. You might be so used to being a caretaker that sometimes I'm hearing that phrase, helpers need helpers too. And that's usually not the case, because you're kind of the person that probably goes around cleaning up other people's messes. You're probably the person that is very overly responsible. You're probably the person that is very capable of anything and always says please and thank you with a smile on your face. But you are the one that people call when they don't know where else to turn to. And so when you need that figure, it might not necessarily be there. Now, this is coming from the wood element as well as the kangaroo here. Now, kangaroos are absolutely freaking adorable, if I do say so myself, but they also pack a punch, literally. And kangaroos, they're actually known for being able to literally multitask. Like, they can have 3 young ones at once. Like, they can have one on their foot, one in their pouch, and still be growing yet another one. So there are always 3 different things going on, and we kind of have this trinity sort of 3-part energy that is finding its way into your reading today. With this responsibility, there's kind of this grand trine where things seem to always work out in your favor, but it's because you're always covering all the bases. When you find like 3 points of contact, it's always the best bet. That's how you're able to find your center. And so because of this, you might notice that you flourish in like legal environments, corporate environments. You are probably really good at business. You might be like a lawyer or a doctor, or you really don't want to control anything or anyone else because you have so much going on for you. And the reason that that is coming out is because there's kind of this energy here of you being some sort of like either leader or some sort of you have some sort of authority in certain areas of your life, whether you're a lawyer or a parent or a doctor or an engineer or a psychic. And the reason for this is because you're a great listener, you are a great critical thinker, but you're also a great action taker. And because of this, you're very responsible. And the wood element would like to remind you that you don't need to you don't need to sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others. Although it's amazing that you're able to do so much at once. Your responsibility does not go unnoticed, but make sure that you're not living in stress. Make sure that you are taking responsibility for yourself in the way where you can be productive and abundant without having somebody take care of you, or without taking care of yourself enough to cover the fact that no one else is doing that for you. Now, a bit of a message coming out right away for you, Group 3. I'm going to get into your tarot cards, and I'm going to pull messages to you from the wood element. You're able to create really large-scale changes in the world. And you might notice that your instincts are pretty on par. Like, things might just seem to come quite naturally for you. You might be very just aware of the flow of nature, very connected with things. Trees, for example, they always are picking up messages from the mycelium around them, from the little pollens in the air, from the direction of the breeze. Wood is connected with the direction east, which is the direction of spiritual development. So you're very tapped in with spiritual energies. It also rules learning. Okay, so you're very probably educated, or you're very smart, very rational, and this is what allows you to take so much responsibility. And you probably have a little bit more information, a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more responsibility, practicality, and faith. That is that segment there that they're drawing attention to. Now, there's a time element coming out. The Lovers came out first for, I believe it was group number 1, so you may have messages there as well. But they want to speak to you about, first and foremost, expressing your intuition. And I'm hearing it's okay to keep some things to yourself. Okay, very interesting message coming out. Okay, you might be so responsible for others that it kind of makes them not need to do as much for themselves. Okay, and this is something that you're letting go of. This is actually what the wood element wants to remind you today. Your trees provide fruit for others to eat, for them to have their nourishment. You're responsible for yourself and the ecosystem around you. And so they want to make sure that not only are you taken care of, but to eat some of those fruits for yourself. We have the Lovers and the Fool right off the bat. Faith and intuition are coming out really strongly for you, Group 3. The wood element also helps to it draws people in. People are able to very easily identify, like through the wood element, this is the element you tap into when you want to find your life path. Or people who are ruled by the wood element are usually, they're usually very healthy people who have clear, open channels, who are able to find where an energy is swaying off from center and guide it kind of back onto its path. So you could also be something like a therapist. Now, I don't just want to list jobs here, but you're able to be so multifaceted. You're able to have not just the two opposing parts, but the balancing point in the center that's a little bit adjacent. They're showing me a triangle, and they're actually highlighting my ring here for you. So maybe that can be significant. You are being asked to focus on yourself and what you want. What are you receiving? Now, there are different ways that the wood element can manifest. As with all elements, you can be active or receptive. You can be masculine or feminine. And they want to speak to you a little bit today about these kind of different attributes of the wood element. You're being asked to make a choice to have faith that things are working in your favor and that you don't need to be responsible for everything all the time. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Because make the choice to have enough faith in yourself and others to wipe the slate clean, to not over-assume your responsibilities, and to focus on your emotional fulfillment. If somebody else, what is this phrase I'm hearing? A lack of preparation on your end does not constitute an emergency on my end. And so that is something that they wish for you to take to heart, Group 3. And you're very responsible, you're very compassionate, Queen of Cups, but you also deserve to receive all that you put out there. There's kind of this element where everything that you touch turns to gold, and so you're going around tapping other people on the shoulder, saying, you get some, and you get some, and you get some. Here's this knowledge, here's this information, here's this technology, here's this medicine. And because of that, it's like you might be tired from doing this, but people see you and they see a blessing. They see a key. They see an oracle. They see a guide. They see information. They see a book to read. But no one thinks about who wrote the book. No one thinks about who guides the guide. No one thinks about, so they're the key. They seem to be the master key for all the locks, but who was the locksmith who made the key? And so there's kind of this energy around you where you know where you're meant to be, but you also feel maybe a bit left out. Because receptive wood, right, loves when they are being recognized, but they don't ask for recognition because they're showing up to do the job. Even if somebody else takes credit, they're just happy that the job was done and the job was done well. So the thing that makes them wag their tail the most, love that synchronicity, brought to you by my one and only Brandy. Anyway, so receptive wood, it is just happy the job's getting done well. And that is the only thing that matters, is that everything and everyone's taken care of, the job is done well, and they don't mind if they get credit for it. But the thing that makes them wag their tail the most, the thing that makes them very, very happy and just feel seen is when, well, literally, they feel seen. When they get the credit for the work that they did, because they're usually the ones that invent the systems that make things work. They're usually the ones that are the good boss. They're usually the ones that are super, super, super softies, but they kind of don't put themselves out there like that. Now, active wood, they're very self-motivated. There is kind of this element of they're the ones that are trustworthy, and because people see them as such a trustworthy, stable figure, they're not necessarily keen on trusting others. Not because they can't, but because it always surprises them how much other people are surprised that they're actually trustworthy. And so there's kind of this, a little bit of perhaps a loner energy here, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can feel like that. Very ethical, very responsible, very inspiring, very honest, straightforward, no games at all whatsoever, just very dedicated. And so this energy here of responsibility is kind of waiting for something to step in stride with you. And you're being encouraged to do less. And you're actually being encouraged to receive more. To make the choice to have faith that you're going to be receiving something that makes you feel seen, something that makes you feel loved, something that's just as trustworthy as you are. Ooh, Knight of Cups. Something that is passionate about you or is just as passionate about the things that you are. For example, say that you build something. You deserve someone who's passionate about what you build. Or if you're an artist, you deserve somebody who is passionate about the art that you make or the art that they make. If you're an engineer, you deserve somebody who appreciates the time it takes to learn a skill. With anything, really, the time it takes to learn a skill, to apply yourself, to create something new from that, and to actually better society and be responsible for so many others. This is kind of the energy of someone who goes around and does the most and gets the least. But they would rather it be that way than the other way around, because to them that is ethical, to them that is moral, to them that is just. So, your message from the wood element today, group number 3, is allow yourself to find emotional fulfillment. Let yourself tap in with the element of water a little bit and let yourself float. You know, the earth element technically sinks, but the wood element floats. You're being encouraged to let yourself get taken away by the river stream, and let yourself trust in the river. Let yourself trust. Now, this is drawing me to Allie's reading over on the Sea Owl. So maybe you will have messages there in her reading as well. There is kind of an element here of you learning to trust your emotions, not just learning to trust the facts and your abilities and your decisions and your responsibility, but you're being asked through this reading to trust, know that you can trust outside of yourself as much as you can trust inside of yourself. Something that I always love to say, because you know that the love that you seek, whether it's romantic, platonic, unconditional, whatever sense, you know that love that you seek, that passion that you seek, that responsibility that you seek exists outside of you because it exists within you. So within, so without. And so instead of overly trusting yourself, instead of trusting yourself so much that you might be hobbling a little bit, instead of just creating systems and setting them into place so that other people don't need to work as hard. Create a system for yourself and let others carry their own weight. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And you'll notice that this might be a bit of a theme. And this is clarity that's been trying to come for you for a while, is what I'm feeling. And I'm getting that you just feel so bad letting go of someone's hand. You just feel so bad, perhaps, not doing the most because you can. Because you know that you do have that extra 1 hour on Saturday, so you might go to the soup kitchen. Why would you not do that, right? They're very compassionate, and you're not taking care of yourself either. That's the thing. But you're always on the go. And so you're being challenged to let yourself be recognized. Let yourself use the systems that you set into play, not just give them away. You're being asked to let yourself indulge in learning things that you like, because just because you are capable of doing so many things at once, just because you are a protector of many, an engineer, a innovator, an inventor, just because you're smart doesn't mean you have to be using your brain all of the time. Just because you're capable doesn't mean you have to be doing all the time. And so you're being called to go with the flow, to tap in. We do have a lot of water here, a lot of water. You're being encouraged, group number 3, to stop and smell the roses, to trust that the faith you have within can be mirrored back to you externally, and to trust that there are people like you that are out there that are also searching for their tribe, and that those people all need a break too. Your ability to act through clarity and integrity is something that is like a little magic serum, a magic potion that everyone wants to get their hands on. And so instead of being responsible for yourself and everyone else in a way where there's only so much, so you have to distribute it equally, let yourself have and own what is yours, what you do, and trust that you are valuable. Know that a job well done is a job well done, but the person who did the job should be the one getting the credit for it. If you were to drop off the face of the earth for a day, a week, a month, it would be so much more noticed that you were not there than it would have been initially that you were there. And that's not to say that you should do that. And it's also not to say that you're not seen. But it is to say that you can definitely afford to pull back a little bit. People oftentimes don't realize what they have until it's gone. And you are very much aware of this as an individual, because you might feel this way about yourself and your own energy. So you're being encouraged to kind of step into the limelight a little bit, even though it might feel like it's not fair to others, because other people are just so kind and they're so sweet and they're so loving and everyone else deserves the world, and so do you. And if you're the one giving everyone else the world, but you are settling for scraps, then there's something to take a look at there. There's no reason for you to get the short end of the stick when you are the one that is constantly pulling the long end of the stick and giving it away. You're very educated, or there's this energy here about you knowing your stuff. Okay, whatever this is whatever you do, whatever you like, you know your stuff. You're really good at it. And it's okay for you to let yourself be reborn as a little bit more of a free spirit. Now, I'm not saying that you're not a free spirit, but I'm just saying you might have a hard time sometimes identifying when you're appreciated, because it doesn't get spoken to you. Because if you know how to do and you know how to teach, then oftentimes, instead of getting taught by you, the people will ask you to do it for them. And it's kind of like that phrase, you can give someone a fish or you can teach them to fish. And you're walking around giving everybody fish. In fact, you're giving them the biggest fish that you catch. So the message for you, group 3, is to identify how you can perhaps release some of that energy and cut yourself some slack. I don't want to say harsher with other people because that's not what's in your heart, but you are very much aware of what's fair and what's not. And you are the one that is doing a big part of that. So you're being encouraged to take action towards your own emotional fulfillment and your own freedom and creativity. The wood element wants to come in to your life today and let you know that it's okay that you float for a little bit. You know, wood, it's kind of simultaneously dense and hollow at the same time. You don't need to be active all the time. It's okay for you to be receptive. It's okay for you to choose the thing that is suitable for you instead of the thing that's the most productive. Maybe you are such an amazing engineer. Maybe you're the best in your field. Maybe you're an amazing doctor. But what you really, really want to do is paint. Let yourself paint. Because I promise you're great at that too. But you're filling your own cup up more, and you might be just as successful, if not more, doing that. You take so much responsibility in your life, but you might be a bit stressed. You might feel as though it's just not in the cards for you to get what you want, or that you have to work harder than everyone else. And this is kind of where there's that double-edged sword coming out here. Because the second that you stop working harder than everyone else is actually going to be the moment that you get what you want. And so, gently, the wood element wants to bring you that today. You know, trees, they're home to so many creatures. They store food for the winter for others. They provide air for others. They have roots. They provide fruits. They provide medicine. But they still sway in the wind. They still have their own unique expression. They don't need to be sturdy and tall and firm all of the time. When there's a storm, bits and pieces will fall off, but they'll sway in the wind. They get affected by the weather too. And just because they're everyone else's stronghold doesn't mean that they need to be exactly sturdy and perfect all of the time. So, group number 3, fall back and understand that if you do something like that's very technical or very critical or very successful, very overachieving, you might feel a bit of a yearning to do something like musical or spiritual or artistic. And there's a reason why that ebb and flow exists within you. This is kind of giving that Virgo to Pisces energy, 6 to 12. And notice that we have number 39 here, which what's missing here is the 6. And adding them together, we have a 12, or ultimately a 3. So you might look around and notice that you've needed to be very responsible for a very long time. You might look around and realize that sometimes you are just taking orders blindly or doing what needs to be done. But what about what you want? What about swaying in the wind? Not because a storm is forcing you to do so, but because the breeze is gentle and it loves you and you love it and you trust it to carry you and bring you back to center. This is like, if I were in like a workshop with you, group 3, I would give you like trust fall exercises. I think that working on trusting others is something that would be beautiful for you. And I think that allowing yourself to be a little bit more free, just as honest, just as confident, but letting yourself be seen, not waiting to be seen, but showing up in the places where you are seen. And seeing yourself so much that it doesn't matter anyway. Taking some of the things off your plate, even if that means putting things onto other people's plates. I was like that kid that would show up like 2 hours early to school, and I would do my homework, and I would like do other people's homework for them too, free of charge, just because I want to do well. I want everyone else to do well. If I'm shining, you're shining too, kind of vibe. I'm eating, you're eating, you know. But then those people, like, weren't doing well on their tests, and I was so burned out. But if I had only looked at my own fair share of numbers, I wouldn't have had any of those problems. And I think that says a lot about your character, Group 3, but I also think that it says a lot about where you're going to. Because to love something so much that you take extra responsibility for it, that is such a beautiful character trait to have. But to love something so much that you're able to let the bird fly free, even though it might fall the first time it tries to do so, that's a different kind of love. That's a detached love. And you're being called to have more of an attached love towards yourself and more of a detached love to others. And with that being the case, that might be a bit of a shift or transition for you. But it's important that you know that you're seen, you're loved, what you do and who you are matters. And it matters so much so that people are used to relying on you. So much so that you feel unseen because you're running around being so amazing. So pull back. And just as a little note from me to you, Group 3, those that want to see you thrive will support you making that decision. That will really show you who cares about your well-being and who sees how useful you are and will certainly squeeze it out of you. That's a fun one to learn, but taking my advice out of it, coming back to the wood element, okay, allow yourself to float. Allow yourself to sway in the breeze. Allow yourself to provide oxygen as a byproduct of you being yourself, but not because it's your job to do so, not so much that the tree shrivels. You are very fair, you're very humanitarian, and you seem to be the kind of person who cooks a 12-person meal and feeds yourself last. Everyone gets a full helping, and if there's only one spoonful left, that's your meal for the day. And so you're being encouraged to write down, yes, write, journal, create, paint, sing, what you're thinking, how you feel, what you wish for. Because trust is a huge element that's coming out here. Trusting other people to do their job well. Trusting other people to catch you when you fall. Trusting other people to be okay on their own. And it's great that you're so worried about them, but it's not so great that you're not that worried about yourself. And maybe you are, and that's part of your overachieving energy. But this is someone who has learned their self-love journey and wants to make sure that everyone feels that too. And while that's beautiful, it's also really, really important that you don't respect others to the point of disrespecting yourself. And I know it's not intentional, but there's something so alive about you, so capable about you, so responsible, so beautiful, honest, pure, intelligent, spiritual, knowing. And it's okay for you to fall back and be a little bit of a mystery. It's okay for you to, I'm hearing anima mundi. It's okay for you to experience the magic within you and to pour it back into yourself. Do those little extra special things for you, specifically today. And trust that there's a big blessing that's on its way for you. I'm seeing that now. After I got through this whole message, King of Cups and the King of Wands here. This is saying that moving towards you is something that will make you happy, something that will help you feel pleasurable, something that's expressive and creative and intuitive and emotional. So, instead of letting all the little ants eat away at your bark, you cute little tree, Group 3, let yourself sway in the wind. Let yourself feel the water flowing within you. Tap in with the other elements. And specifically those are those of flow. And trust that just because you can be administrative, just because you are an expert, just because you're wise, just because you're responsible, doesn't mean that that's your job. It just is another awesome trait about you. So group number 3, that is your channeled message from the wood element. I hope this helps shed love, light, and clarity on your situation, and I love you with my whole heart. If you're looking for more content like this, you can subscribe to my channel, where I post every Tuesday. You can join my YouTube members channel, my inner circle, where I post every Wednesday, or you can join my Patreon, where I post every Thursday. All long pick a card readings like this, and all linked in the description box below. Please go check out the readings made by some of my friends in my soul family. You can find those in the description box as well. And if you like, comment, subscribe to mine or any of their channels, it honestly helps us because we do this because we love what we do. And it helps other people out too. So, with that being said, I love you. I'm grateful that you're here today. I hope that you take it easy on yourself today and always. Know that you're seen, appreciated, and loved. And I hope that you have an amazing and beautiful rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful realm. Namaste.